Okay, welcome everyone. This is the Signature Policy API meeting. Today is December 16th, 2025. Let's follow the code of conduct and be nice to each other. All right, so first of all, we usually give a chance to the people that are joining our meeting for the first time to maybe quickly introduce themselves if they'd like to, so I'll give a second.
Everybody knows me, right? I mean,
Yeah, but
I'm,
maybe you have some special interest or like want something from us, you can tell us now.
I'm Flynn. I'm a tech evangelist for Linkerd at Buoyant. I also work with the Gateway API and the AI Gateway Working Group, and this ends up having a fair amount of overlap with Kubernetes networking stuff in general. So I've been meaning for a while to show up and start paying more attention to network policies. That's why I'm
Yay,
here.
to see you.
Yeah, I'm actually not here just to heckle Nadia, although it's tempting.
Well, we'll see. You can say so. All right. Anyone else? If not,
Hey folks, yeah.
hello.
Hey, I'm Vivek. So I was also
Hi
recently
there.
working on some network policy related things, so that's why I'm curious to join this and see what are the latest things going on.
Awesome. Okay, sounds good. That's exactly what we're gonna talk about now. So, all right. Yeah, also please feel free to add more stuff to the agenda. It looks like we'll have time to talk about that, and I'll start with the first item from myself, which is our latest work on the protocol rework. After almost agreeing on using the second option during KubeCon and almost getting it ready to merge, as discussed on the last meeting and as pointed out by Dan here, we figured out that the YAML looked a little bit strange, so I updated the NPAP based on that feedback, so that we have a list of protocol matches again. Only one protocol will be allowed per every list item here, and then it still works, just requires a little bit more writing in the YAML, but also makes more sense compared to all the other things we have, like a list of peers and list of protocols and port matches and network policy. So hopefully that will make more sense and be more familiar to people. So I think, no, I didn't get any feedback on that. Or I did have a
I
feedback
think,
while we reviewed that. Yeah?
yeah, unfortunately, the discussion was a little split between the two PRs, but you have an LGTM. I'm going to put it on there right now.
Awesome. Yeah. So this one, yeah, I think it looks okay to you. Still didn't get the confirmation from Dan, who kind of started that conversation, I guess. So it would be nice to get an LGTM from him too. And of course, anyone else who is interested, please take a look and let us know if that makes sense, because there's been a bit of a change, as I said. And but Boy, are you saying there is also another branch of discussion in your PR too?
It says the same thing. So I think it's just, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, all right. So I wanted to make sure we do all the theoretical discussion here in the NPAP, and then your implementation just does what we agreed on. And yeah, we don't need to jump in between those PRs. All right. So anyway, we need to get this one merged first, and then hopefully right after that, reviewing and merging your implementation won't take as long. So yeah, if you're watching somewhere, let us know if that looks good. I think, yeah. And again, just
So
looking for
Dan's
more
on
reviews.
vacation. Just ping him
Yeah.
on Slack and he's periodically checking it.
Oh, okay. Thank you. Yeah, that sounds good. Maybe we'll
If he's
see.
on
He's
vacation,
back
he
on
should
the
tell.
5th.
If he's on vacation, he should be on vacation.
Well, he
Well,
did tell me that if I needed anything urgent to Slack and that he's gonna check Slack. So I did not say that in the recording. But if you need anything from him, just tell him.
yeah. Yeah. Anyway, I'll just maybe ping him in the Slack, and then we'll see. I mean, he doesn't have to reply, obviously. I am a bit hesitant to merge it without his LGTM, I guess, again, because he kind of started that, initiated this whole last bit of change here. So I wanted to make sure this version makes sense. Okay.
Anyways, I added the LGTM. So
thank you. Yeah, that's nice. Thanks. All right, and then another piece of news from me, a bit organizational. So I have added a configurable host network port range to our conformance test config. So it was a bit of a problem. We discussed that a couple meetings before when I told you what it's about, and there was an issue open in our PR, in our repository. So we merged that, but then I needed that change in the downstream implementation of the network policy, of the admin network policy to be precise. So I tagged a new tag, but more importantly, I also added a new branch where I think if we need to ever add more changes to the older version of what we are doing, so admin network policy, baseline network policy version, we could backport it to that release branch, basically as what I just did. And then I think when we finalize the CNP design and release it, it's going to be 0.2 or something, so that people can still use kind of both versions and we don't drop the support for the ANP, BNP straight ahead. So any objections, feedback? I don't know.
This is just a config thing for the test. Sounds fine to me. You can send the PR to me if you want. Or is it
yeah, it's all merged. It's just about, like, I guess we were not really good with doing release branches and branches in general. We mostly were maintaining the main one. And also because we didn't have major changes before. Now I feel like it's a good idea to maintain the ANP BNP version for some time too, as long as the CNP, which will be on the main branch. And so what else I did is I tagged the new version, but I didn't do a full release. I'm not sure, maybe I should do that and just say that you now can configure port ranges. So that's literally the only feature that's different from the previous release. So I also wanted to just get some feedback on that.
I think that makes sense, because otherwise we would never have like a dot release or like a whatever semantic tiny bump release.
Yeah, okay, so I'll do an extra release then, because now the latest is this 1.7. And then while I was doing that, I had to create a new branch, some branch protection rules and stuff. And then I found we have these two funny branches too.
Oh, hold on. I don't know if we need to do a release for it. I think tag is fine, right?
Okay, that's what you're saying, because tag I've already done.
Yeah, I think that should be good for consuming the fix in our side.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
Nadia, like, what does a release mean? Sorry, maybe I don't know. I was thinking just like a GitHub, like.
Yeah, so in terms of a branch, it's just a branch that maintains like a given version of supported APIs and conformance. And then what I mean with this release is what's listed here in the repository as releases, which you can create from tags saying, well, with release notes and stuff,
GitHub
saying
release.
what's the latest version. Yeah.
Oh, sorry, why not? It's like so inexpensive. Isn't it just clicking a button?
Oh,
The
what
nice
I
thing
mean
about
is there's
creating
nothing new in it. I mean, what I mean is we don't really need the release, right? Do we? Is somebody
you're talking
using
about
it?
API
Are we going to
release versus,
maintain it?
I see.
If it's a release, it's a full release, right? Like, it's not like we just release that small bit that Nadia did. Like, the whole thing will be supported, but it's the same as the 1.7 release, I guess. Or maybe not, because you also added CNP, so it's all coming in that
the release is supposed, I guess, to be the first like two numbers, right? So the release is like 0.1, which includes ANP and BNP, and then this minor release bumps is like with minor versions and whatever. But we haven't been really good with actually following that. Same with the release branch, as I said. So we didn't have the 0.1 release. We had, for some reason, separate branches for two very similar looking things. So I was wondering if we need them at all, like these two.
I don't think we need the branches. I think it was Andrew who did it. I don't remember ever cutting a branch in the repo. But for the release itself, usually if there's an API change that we want to consume, we cut it. But now if you do cut a release for 0.1.8, is that what you're thinking of cutting? Or are you thinking of cutting a 0. Yeah. So in the 0.1.8, I don't know how you can avoid having the .cnp API. That will also be in the release, right?
No, because I created this new branch and then I backported this new tag to that 0.1 branch, which only has ANP and BNP, because the conformance test changes do apply to the old version of the API.
Oh, okay. So like the 0.1 already existed, right? Okay, then it's fine. I think we can just start. Okay.
I actually created it because I mean it kind of existed theoretically, but it didn't exist as a branch.
So sorry, just to
hold on. So if you just got, oh, sorry, I'm talking over people. I was about to say, if you had just done the 0.1 branch, what tag did you cut it from? From the 1.7?
Yeah.
Ah, okay, that makes more sense because I was like, is 0.1 branch from the 0.1 release? Because that is not making much sense. It's
exactly.
Old.
Yeah. So I was trying to kind of get that in order because I think it's the first case when we ever needed to backport anything. So that's why most of the things didn't really exist. And then by just looking what releases we have, I figured that makes sense.
So speaking from the perspective of other projects and decisions that we have made with respect to our users, if anybody's figured out a way to do backports without release branches, I don't know what it is. So if you want to be able to support backports, release branches are a really good idea. And to Boe's point, if you produce a thing that has artifacts that other people are supposed to consume, then creating a GitHub release for all of those things makes sense because it confuses people less when everything is consistent. Also, GitHub releases are really cheap, so why not?
Yeah. It's not like it's not a major release, it is a minor release.
It doesn't matter, it's a release.
Yeah, for sure. But I mean, that's what I'm saying. So I didn't do it. The only release note will be you can now configure port ranges. Yay.
Which is a really great release note, right?
Yeah,
I mean,
sure.
You can make an argument that since that's a feature that sounds like a feature rather than a bug fix. So you could make an argument that it should really be 0.2 instead of 0.1.8, just for the record. But let's not. Now, having said all that, Nadia, I am currently the release manager for the next upcoming Gateway API release. I am happy to talk more than you probably want to about release management. So if you have questions, feel free to hit me up on Slack.
Okay, sounds good. But
I
it looks like
get out of the way and let Surya talk.
In favor of getting another minor release. And yes, Surya, I think about the first one.
Yeah.
What I wanted to say is I don't really have anything against cutting out 0.1.8, but if you click on releases in the past, if we ever did an update for tests, we never cut a release. We only did tags. I think that's because at that point we agreed to not do too frequent releases. And I was just talking based on how we did things in the past, but it doesn't mean that that's necessarily something we need to continue. For example, you won't see a 1.5 release or a 1.4 release. They are just tags and they had test fixes. So
you can see anything that we between 1
to 1.7. Yeah, but we did have tags for 4, 5, 6, if I'm not mistaken, but we didn't cut a release because all of them were just conformance test fixes. And we didn't think that, it needed a release because everybody was just consuming a tag. And I remember asking Sean, and I think even they consume a tag at this point. So regardless, it's fine to cut a release. So.
Boe, you were next, I think.
So again, like it seems more natural to just click the release button because the tags can sometimes be like a transitory thing if people mess it up. The other thing is, can you go back to the branches? I just want to make sure we record down what we're doing.
Yeah.
So we're deleting. Go to
so
main.
I did.
So we're deleting what like
totally strange, and I was sure they're not used. So for this one, I just wanted to double check, but I'm also pretty sure these two do not.
Okay, so we should delete those, right?
Yeah, I just want to confirm with everyone else before I click the scary red button.
It's like 1.v01.
Yeah, exactly. It gives you a hint. Okay, good. Then I'll also I'll do the release. Wait a second, I'm just write it down for now, and then we'll see what Sean has to say. And then deleting branches is fine. Okay. Yeah, Sean, you're next.
I just wondered if I mean, I don't want to spend too much time on release version numbering, but have we considered making the release branches named according to the API version? So like we could have a branch for v1 alpha 1, which would relate to the AMP BAMP, and then v1 alpha 2 would relate to the CMP version, and then obviously you could have you'd have tags hanging off those. I just feel like our versions that are sort of v0.1. something, they're totally unrelated to like the API versioning that we that is the sort of output of our work. But yeah.
Well, that makes sense to me.
You've
but
just
we will
given
also
me such PTSD.
Oh yeah, come on, tell us what you think about that.
Kubernetes versioning is broken and weird. You are allowed to add things to v1 alpha 1 without having it become v1 alpha 2. Once you get into the standard world, Kubernetes doesn't have a really effective way to do CRD versioning. We've usually found it useful to maintain a semantic version number that is separate from the Kubernetes version API, because the Kubernetes version is just weird and not very useful.
Yeah, I guess
that was something.
Yeah, go ahead. I mean, I might even say have like v1 alpha 1 dash, 0.1 or whatever, but I just feel like we're kind of our release branch naming is so far divorced from the thing that we talk about most of the time that I'm not even sure like when we cut a version of with CNP, is it going to be a release 0.2? Is that how we're going to track it? Is 0.2 our v1 alpha 2?
I would vote for that with the current naming at least.
Yeah.
And then if we ever get to stable,
in that case, like there's a mapping from the semantic versioning over to the thing that we normally talk about. So that's fine.
We actually gave up on trying to do that mapping for a gateway API because the way Gateway API does it is that there is an annotation on the CRD that gives its semantic version. So there is a way you can look at your cluster and find out which semantic version you've installed. But it actually doesn't help you to rev the Kubernetes API version when you add new features. It is more challenging for your users because they have to worry more about the storage version versus the served versions and things like that. This is another one where I don't really want to just show up for the first time and then burn up all the time in the meeting. I apologize. But yeah, the versioning is broken in Kubernetes. It is usually the case that you don't want to change the API group version without really, really strong reasons to do so. And almost all of the strong reasons to do so will involve conversion webhooks, and you're going to hate them. Let me see if I can find the doc I wrote about this once upon a time.
Those are particularly awful for network policy because your conversion webhook has to work before your CNI network policy is working.
Oh yeah. Ugh.
So like, yeah, just projecting forward, kind of like we will probably, if we add the alpha 1, etc., you'll just end up with a version with a static string like alpha 1 forever. So I don't know if that is like more meaningful.
I should also point out that we also dropped the idea of beta from the Gateway API CRDs because we've came to the conclusion that going alpha, beta, and then, like v1 alpha to v1 beta to v1, the beta doesn't seem to gain anything in practice. So we stopped using it.
Yeah, I think we discussed something similar, but that our beta release was supposed to be closer to the V1, so we wanted to make sure it's going to be stable and will only have new backwards compatible features ever added. Anyway, so I don't know if we are ever getting to release 1 dot something. But it looks like from the document read, nice.
I just shared this document that I wrote back in May, and then I'm confident that some of it is wrong, but I'm confident that it still is relevant enough to read. This one, I wrote it in May, the Gateway API folks looked at it, and then in October, it got mentioned again, and suddenly the API machinery people noticed it at that point, and so it became much, much more fascinating if you look at the comments.
Okay, sounds like a lot of fun to read.
Yeah, it didn't feel at all like waking up on a Saturday morning and having to go to a surprise thesis defense or something like that.
Come on, that's like Christmas party there. All the friends got together.
I started the conversation over in SIG API, and they sent me to SIG Arch, and I knew I was being sent to the headmaster's office.
Pretty much, yeah.
Conversation about why is this so hard, and could we do something like easier? And I think that it all comes down to like there's so much friction in changing the version. Like we need to get rid of the friction so that you can just have V1 and then we ship a new version. It's V2, it's V3, it's V4, and it's really easy. And you can't.
And if you talk to API machinery, then you start finding all of the reasons why that is really hard if you're talking about supporting production users. The whole thing is awful. Yeah.
Yes, Surya?
So I just remember the reason why we didn't, and this is not related directly to this, but I remember the reason why we didn't do the 3, 4, 5 releases and jumped to 7. It was because every time we cut the release, there's that bundle version that we need to update on the YAML of the API, right? And that needs an approval from the API reviewer group, which means Tim Hawkins or somebody else. That was the rule that we were told, at least to me and Andrew, or we need to go to SIGNet and announce a release. And that was the official way. But for a E2E change, I guess it doesn't count, and we can just quickly update the bundle version perhaps to 8.
Yeah,
but we were held pretty strict to that, right? So
I'm going
you can see that. Oh yeah, for 1.7, I had to get an API review, and that was the rule for 1.7, and it got hung up for a long time because of that. Although we got pretty quickly the act. But you can see that as part of the release PR, there's a bundle version update, and we also did it for 1.1, and we didn't want to keep doing it for every small E2E test change that we needed somebody to approve the fact that I was bumping the bundle version on the API. But I don't know what the official rules are. So at least if that's not a thing, then we can just cut it.
Who makes up these rules?
We
were at least.
Did we make us this rule for ourselves?
I think it's SIG Network, right? No, I don't think it was made by ourselves for sure, Bove, because Andrew had asked about this and he was told so, and I remember this because that's why we didn't cut the release. Otherwise, we would have.
I mean, we might as well just ask again, because if it's like lost in the midst of time.
You can also ask questions like, if you are not, SIG Network definitely has a rule that if you're making changes to an official Kubernetes API, then you have to get review from SIGNet, right? And then you start getting into fun questions like, well, if the only thing you're going to change in the resources is the bundle version, then do you need review? Well, if the only thing you're changing is the bundle version, then maybe you shouldn't bother doing a release because nothing user visible has changed, right?
That we've had this back and forth discussions at that point when we were trying to cut the 1.2 or 1.3, I remember, and we just gave up. And because as part of the bundle version update, you also put the API approved PR version, right? And that's not efficient. Effectively, that's not changing when you cut the 1.8 because it stays the same. There is no new API change update. So
I don't
anyways,
think we do that.
And we must have
I do
copied
know
it from
though
Gateway
that
API.
Gateway
but
API.
maybe-
I'm sorry, Nadia, go say that again.
I'm saying we must have copied it from the Gateway API because we were hardly inspired, let's say. So it may be a good time to go and check on that.
I don't
The
think
API
we,
approved thing, I think, comes from core Kubernetes because the policy.networking.k8s.io is owned by Signet, right? I thought that rule came from Signet, but maybe, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I would expect the same rules to apply to Gateway API then too. So
Yeah.
could be a good investigation to do.
We in Gateway API, we do not seem to wait, this is an experimental Gateway API. Sorry. We have a bundle version, but we do not seem to have a PR number for. Oh no, wait. I lied. We do. Okay. But the
Yeah, I'm pretty
experimental.
sure that the bundle version doesn't get approved if you don't have a PR attached to it. I've tried. Yeah.
But the some of this is also like we do the experimental channel solely so that we can make experimental changes where we don't have to get, I shouldn't say solely, largely so that we can make experimental changes without having to go back and get approval for every change. Because as you note, going through the Signet API review is painful. So
yeah, but also how the bundle version correlates to the repository release version that you're doing. That's another thing. Can I say I release 01.8 with the bundle of 01.7 or something? Yeah.
And Nadia, there's some docs that Andrew had written like long ago, and I'm pretty sure they're all stale because we don't even have experiments anymore. So I think it would be at least good to clean that up because I don't think that's relevant. And then whatever we decide as the new release process forward, we can follow that. But yeah.
That document was clearly copied from Gateway API because we still have it and it's still very much alive.
Yeah.
And our version will be changing shortly too. Just be warned.
Oh, Flynn, what's the changes?
So Gateway API is changing from a model where we have features driving new releases to one where we have time driving new releases. So
I see. Yes.
We have picked a date for the next release of Gateway API. Whatever is ready to go will ship, and whatever is not ready to go will not ship. But we're also doing monthly releases that are not semantically versioned of experimental stuff. So there's now a tag and a GitHub release called monthly-2025.12, which has only the experimental channel in it and will hopefully make it easier for people to grab the experimental stuff, do implementations, etc. And then there will be another one. There will be a monthly 2026.01 that will show up sometime in January. And all of those are going to be, those releases are already almost 100% automated. And by the January one, I'm really hoping it's literally tag it and the release object pops out.
Yeah, that's something that we should look into, especially grabbing the automation. I don't know about the monthly cadence, but having the automation is useful.
The thing that's nice about the monthly cadence is that the only opportunities that you have to get feedback on whether your API is working for people the only opportunities you have for feedback are when you do releases. Unless you're trying to explicitly tell people that always develop off main, usually that's hard in the broader community, right? So increasing the tempo of something being released increases the opportunities for us to get feedback and figure out if we're on the right track, and hopefully makes it easier for us to have features that land in the experimental channel, get some useful feedback, and then get out of experimental. I like having the experimental channel because I really like being able to make changes without having to go through the whole SIG network review process. I like being able to have people try things and then come back and say, this is not working, we're going to change stuff. So I'm one of the ones who lobbied hard for the monthly release thing. And I should point out, I stole it largely from Linkerd. Linkerd does weekly Edge releases. Because again, once it's automated, who cares, right? And because a Linkerd Edge or a Gateway API monthly is literally a tag on main. You never backport fixes. There's no branch cutting. It's just you make a tag and then you make a release from the tag and you're done. Um, and yeah, so it's a good way to go and get feedback on things without having all of this heavyweight cut a branch, do all this stuff, curate the release, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah, that may be another good thing to consider, I guess, eventually when we have more features with higher cadence being even implemented. For now, monthly releases would mean some of them would be empty, I guess.
I should point out that, this is very new, and it's also possible that Gateway API will get 3 months into it and go, oh my God, this is awful. But I'm kind of optimistic that we won't.
Okay, so that for now it sounds, I'm still not sure if the release on the repository and the release on the bundle version of the API have to be the same, because the quote unquote bundle version and the release of the API, nothing has changed there.
I mean, I can help sort that out to understand where that's coming from. What is the bundled version? Sorry, I'm just not familiar with.
I'll point it. I'll add all the links here.
Yeah, if you could just send me, I can do some investigation.
Yeah, I can also send it to you for sure. And then I also think what the release word here in the docs, and it's also somehow under conformance, means the API release, and then the repository release is not exactly the same, because we don't only have the API, but we also have conformance and potentially some other things in the future. So
yeah, like I just it doesn't sound like it makes sense to link them. That's my sense, but just send me the information. I can just see if there's some other reason that we're not like thinking of why they need to be linked up.
Yeah, that makes sense. Let me find it. So that's the thing where it's coming from. Yeah, okay, let's do a bit of investigation. It's still good that we brought this up, so we have a chance to figure out how to do that. And then our next release will be easier, hopefully. Okay, for now, I'll just delete the branches. I'll wait until we figure out how we want to do the release on the repository versus the release of the API. Yeah, and then I'll give you all the updates here. Now, moving on, the organizational kind of question, do we want to cancel the meeting on December the 30th? I would guess. No one's really excited to join. The only other question I have is I'm not sure who has the powers to edit the invites on the calendar.
Just make Dan do it.
I think Boe should be able to do it since he's a
I can. You want me to delete stuff from the calendar? I can certainly do that.
Yeah, December 30th, I don't think they're meeting.
One fun fact is whenever I do anything with the calendar, I get thousands of email bounces.
Yes.
So I just have to
you can add a note saying canceled, but not actually cancel it. I don't know.
Yeah, you need a filter to send all of that to your archive or something.
Yeah.
It's fine. I can delete it. So December 30th, I'll do it right now.
Awesome. Okay, that's really nice. Thank you.
Okay.
And then all our other meetings should be in order.
It's gone.
Yay. Okay, holidays to everyone were just granted. All right, I think that's the last item on our agenda. Anything else we would like to discuss today?
So are you guys going to be around the rest of this week? I'm going to get that. Oh wait, we need Dan's LGTM, but I'll get the PR all like fixed, and then I'll also have a thing to Kube network policy as well. So anyways, if people want to review those.
Yeah, I'm happy. What? Oh,
I merged it. Sorry. Okay, quick before Dan knows.
We need to quickly ping Dan and make sure he was fine with that.
We forgot to hold it. Oh well.
But how did it? Was it approved?
It's because I LGTM and you have it approved.
No, I think you also approved that some time ago, and it doesn't remove the approve label when you repush stuff, but it only removes the LGTM. Am I dreaming that?
I think that Boe just used the / easier to get permission than forgive, or easier to get forgiveness than permission, whichever. He must have used that / command.
Right. So
anyways, I'll
without
prepare the other
LGTM
PR. I
yeah.
mean,
Yeah.
like we can always revert this, right? Like it's not a big deal.
True, but maybe that was destiny. I don't know. Anyway, yeah, as soon as this one is, well, not merged, but confirmed merged now, I don't know what's the new button. I'll start a thread on the
Yeah,
channel.
just like
so
check to see if
yeah,
anyone
so
has
that
an
we
issue.
can see if we need a follow-up or if that's fine. Right after that, I'm the first one to review an LGTM UPR.
Okay.
So you
All
can
right.
ping me straight ahead when you see that. And well, Kube Network Policy API also, oh, how it's called? Kube Network Policy PR2, I can also review that.
Okay. Yeah, I'll get those prepared. You'll see those soon.
All right. Any other topics for today? If not, then I wish you all very nice, pleasant holidays, and then I'll see you here next year.
Happy holidays.
Happy holidays.
January
Happy
13th.
holidays, everyone. Thanks all. Bye.
See you.
See ya.